So, final deck list for today, Mermails with the arbitrary, where are you, that thing. So, this is going to be, I suppose I'll just title it, Fincess Mermails. Yeah, that'll do, Fincess Mermails, because, unlike the one certain person who I may or may not have gotten inspiration for this list from, I don't really care about the titles of my videos. I will just put whatever the heck I want, and if people want to view them, then go ahead. So anyways, gonna just get on with the deck list. One random Megalo, because, yeah, like, the whole point of Fincess does not actually alter the fact that this thing is pretty much, for the most part, standard Mermails with Undyne and shit, so Undyne's quite effective to dump Dragoons and get this to hand, which is pretty awesome. I found it interesting, though, that I had a standard two of these in the lead, and it was just kind of It was kind of a bit weird for me, so I was just like, just stick with the one Megalo, and it was perfectly fine. 3 Tiers, yeah, we're moving into the random stuff. 3 Lind, I don't know why people are playing 2, you have to play 3. 3 Pike, 1 Turge, 1 Gund. I'm not playing Oshia. Oshia's atrocious. That almost rhymed, but yeah, I'm terrible with that. But yeah, that's pretty much just the Mermail lineup that you'd see in just about every single deck, except for the one arbitrary deck that's just like, oh my god, I like 2 Lind. Lind is 2 is better, but no, it's not. Atlanteans are pretty much standard. 2 Marksmen. I am so freaking OCD about this right now. Same thing with the infantries. I am so, once again, incredibly anal about the fact that I'm running different rarities, but at least I can fix the infantries. I've got it on the common, but it's fine. Then the 1 Dragoons. Gotta just, yeah. Pretty much just breezing through this, because for the most part, this is pretty much the same Mermail list that I showed off before, except with a few more bits, except with the extra little banish sort of engine, which, ironically, is what title is good for. It banishes shit, and that's actually a lot more relevant to this deck's interests than what it was in the past. And then we run the Dragon Ice. This is just gives you a reason, because it's also effective to have Gold Sark in this deck, so I figured I might as well run the Dragon Ice, just so that I still have the option to banish title with it, and then get the this guy out. So why not? 1 Aqua Spirit. I would love to play a second one, but I don't have it, and it's kind of just That out of the way, double Beautiful Princess. This little shithead goes off when it's normal special summoned. You can then immediately banish it to special summon a level 4 or lower fish from your deck, except another copy of this. So basically, in a build that runs shit like Undyne, having quick access to the Pike to get that Undyne out of the deck is quite effective. Plus, not to mention, the fact that it gets banished makes a whole bunch of the other bits and pieces in this deck live, as you will soon see. Speaking of Gen X, 2 Undyne, 2 Controller. I was seriously considering cutting this down to 1, but if I'm going to be running Fincess, I wanted to have a whole bunch of different bits and pieces to get access to with Pike, because I'm essentially running 5 Pikes in the deck, so that's basically the way that works. For the spells, 1 MST just to get around vanities, 1 Salvage, it's the recycling sort of thing, and then 1 Fish and Swap. This is pretty much the same as Salvage, except it gets back banished Fish, C7, or Aqua type monsters. And the best part about this is it's not restricted by level at all or attack points. So if you've used title, you can safely just banish a TS and a relevant bit of fodder for its cost. Then just play this, get it back, and then just go plus. It's just quite effective. Gold Sark. Gold Sark. You can kind of use this with fish and swaps if you're in a desperate situation. But aside from that, you want to go title to get Dragon Ice, or if you've already got title, then get stuff like Soul Charge. So it's nice. 1 for 1. 1 for 1 is frigging Awesome card. This basically means that you're running 3 Beautiful Princess in the deck, which conversely means you're running 6 Plaques in the deck. Or even, like, you can even get a Turge if you want to on that rare occasion. But 1 for 1 is just another way to get to your Princess quick, which in itself is the quick way to get to your Pike. So it's pretty much all about getting Pike, getting Undyne, and then just filling up your grave, getting ready to just then push and do a shitload of damage. And the last 2 spells I play 1 Allure because I found myself opening with at least 1 controller a fair few times, and then just having controllers sitting there in the hand with pretty much no use, so I figured I might as well give this a bit of a crack. And then the 1 Soul Charge, because I'm not really feeling 2 in this deck at the moment, so it's just, yeah. For the traps, Triple Sphere, this one I'm not so incredibly anal about when it comes to running 3. Apparently it is a good idea to run 2, but I just like 3 because it's there quicker and it helps push the game 1 win. O-Fish. Double O-Fish. This is a Divine Wrath that instead of discarding 1, shuffles one of your banished Sea Serpent, Fish, Sea Serpent, or Archetype monsters back into the deck. So it actually makes you essentially go +2. Well, more like it's more like +1 because you're giving up this itself and then basically getting something back into the deck, like our Beautiful Princess, so that's reusable, or like Teus, or something like even Dragoons. This works really well with Dragoons. If you banish the Dragoons and then send it back to the deck, if you've got an Undyne, you can then just reuse it again, which is quite effective, and it negates any effect monster effect activation and destroys it. So it's really friggin' awesome, and it gets the most important part is that it gets round Lance. That's the big thing about it, is it gets round Lance because it is a counter trap. The last 2 traps I play are the Wiretap and the Solemn Warning. Solemn Warning is pretty much the same reason as with the Mythic Ruler deck list, and the Wiretap's just there to get around opponents' Wiretaps if they try to Wiretap your O-Fish. And of course, Vanities, because Grub card is Grub. But anyways, onto the extra deck. Start with the 7s. Gaios, obvious. Dracosac, Big Eye. It's pretty much all you need to have in the deck. For rank 4s, I have 5 of them in the form of Bahamut Shark. Love Bahamut Shark to bits. Laval Chain, this is just good to foolish your title if you can go for that quick rank 4 play. Sullen on Arc, it's because it's Sullen on Arc. Best Dweller again, because it's the Best Dweller. And then a number 80. I did have a Black Ship in here, but I decided to cut that. I felt like number 80 was a bit more of a necessity than Black Ship, simply because you can just banish a whole bunch of stuff from the opponent's graveyard and just sort of razz with their stash. So that I'm pretty happy with that sort of setup. Rank 3s, the 1 obligatory Trite to work with Bahamut, the 1 Engineer, the 1 Levier. Levier is friggin' amazing, especially when you're doing a lot more banishing with the banish stuff out of this. And this is actually effective as well to get back. I've actually done this to get back, what do you call him? Dragoons. I've gotten this to get back Dragoons, and then overlaid it into Bahamut Shark, and then used it to get Trite, and then took another search. I don't think I don't think that move is quite as effective because I only really did it when I had Lead and Megalo, but it's still pretty effective to have. So it's definitely a thought-provoking idea. Then, if you haven't got the Megalos, and then you might as well just go hard for it. Then play the Alucard, because just got to get rid of the set shit. Because, good God, I will always go on a tangent about Vanities. Call me salty if you want, but I just hate the card. It's just terrible. I have the right to hate any card that I so choose. Then we have, for the Synchros, Leo, BLs, Dragon Ice. Just that's the biggest reason I love running Dragon Ice, because BLs is just too good. And then Black Rose makes the back row hate. For the side deck, starting off with Random Funny Tech, Penguin Soldier. This is, once again, it is an out to Winder. And if your opponent, you actually don't have to if your opponent's a dumbass and doesn't attack into it, or if you prevent them from doing some kind of attack, or like, I don't know if they soul charge or something, you can just flip summon this during your turn, and then send this back along with one of your opponent's big monsters. So I quite love it to bits. 2 Max C, just because, yeah, this deck does get a bit of benefit from Max C. 2 Zombie World, just because I didn't really want to fuck up the ratios with DNA Surgery. Zombie World's fine in its own right. It's not going to get blown up if the opponent drops Spellbook Tower. Conversely, it won't blow up Spellbook Tower if you use it, but it's fine. It's a decent trade-off. Double MST, standard. Well, since I'm maining the one. Then 1 Blackhorn. I'd love to have a second one, but don't have it. It's the second wiretap, just to get round if the opponent's really freaking trigger happy with their wiretaps. 1 Malcat. I would probably cut this for the second Blackhorn if I could get my hands on it. But this card in itself is pretty effective, especially if you've only got like something like a wiretap as well down. If you can just sort of trick them into getting their back row, and then you just go bam, and even if they do wiretap, you've got yourself your own wiretap to respond with. And it's also quite effective as well if your opponents, if you've also got a Sphere down, because you can just go Malcat and then Sphere. Then 2 Light Mirror, 2 Shadow Mirror. I would I've got a 3rd Shadow Mirror, but I really want to get 1 more Shadow Mirror, because that way I don't actually have to swap these bloody Shadow Mirrors around. That's just a random pet peeve that has nothing to do with the deck list, but, you know, Light and Shadow Mirror, they just get round the big 3 decks of the format. So, with that now out of the way, that would be the 3rd and final of these 3 deck lists that I arbitrarily decided to do, all out of the way. So, I don't really see myself doing any more deck lists for the rest of the format, and as far as I can see, I don't really see myself going to any more locals before the turn of the format. So, at this rate, unless I finally decide to stop being lazy and do some more Soul Silver, the next video should, in theory, be my Banlist Thought Dump video. So, regardless of what it is, see you for that. By that I mean something. I don't know, croissants.